Hey there, it's CJ Willie and I'm cracking a pack. Today is pack number 1 in the Magic the Gathering Amonkhet Bundle Bingo. Check out my preview video for the explanation on how this Amonkhet Bundle Bingo will work. I've added the link to the preview video in the description below. So as a reminder, here is a review of my bingo card. So I'm looking to get any of these in pack number 1 so I can mark off a bingo square. Once I mark off a bingo square, I'll mark off the free bingo square because everybody deserves a free bingo square. So I'm mainly a casual, let me stress the word casual player. So as I open the pack, my commentary will be focused from a very casual Magic player viewpoint. I think it's a unique spin on rating Magic cards, and after I open the pack, I'm going to choose the best card out of the pack. Maybe you might agree, maybe you won't, but at least it's going to be fun. So here I've got all of my Amonkhet packs, numbered 1 through 10, the final one. So let's get cracking number 1 today. So last, well, it was Fat Pack Bingo, didn't go so well. So let's get off to just an awesome start. Hopefully, you know, down here I'll get one of those foil rare mythic cards, who knows. Alright, so the first card out of the pack is Mighty Leap. It's an instant for 2 mana, 1 and a white. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains flying until end of turn. So this is a reprint. It's been in quite a few core sets. It's been in a number of sets previously. It's a pretty cool combat trick. You know, you can use it in defense to get your creature off the ground, block a flyer. You can get a creature off the ground so that it can't be blocked. 2 mana for +2/+2 and flying. It's an okay card. I've played it in a number of limited draft decks and in a couple of like just casual standard decks or pioneer decks now. Next card is Ancient Crab. 3 mana, 1 and 2 blue. You get a 1/5 vanilla. So in Amonkhet, I remember kind of in the draft environment, it was a really fast draft. I mean, there was red, white that was beating you down. I had a little bit of success when I drafted a blue deck. I put a couple of Ancient Crabs in there. It was really hard for the aggro decks to get through. And, you know, as usual, I'd play like a blue-white flyer deck, put this stuff on like an Ancient Crab on the ground, and then, you know, deal all the damage in the air. Next card, Minotaur Sheer Shot. 3 mana, 2 and a red. You get a Minotaur Archer. It's a 2/3. It has reach. And then you can pay 1 and a red, and it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So this is a pretty good card. It had the pump ability. It had reach. A lot of the flyers either had a 2, a 1, 2, or 3 butt. So based upon how much you could pump it, you could take out a flyer. It was a pretty good card in red. Held back a lot of my flyer decks. Next card is 3 mana, 2 and a green for a Pouncing Cheetah. It's a cat that's a 3/2 and it has flash. You know, initially this looked like a pretty cool card, and early on in some of the draft I played it. The problem with it is it has a 2 butt, and it was dying to a lot of stuff. So you'd flash it in and you'd block and it would die, and you know, it may take out the opponent's creature, it may not. First I was really high on it, but haven't really liked it since then. We have a string of like 3 mana cards, red, green, and now black. Cursed Minotaur for 3 mana, 2 and a black. You get a Zombie Minotaur. It's a 3/2 as well, but it has Menace. So let's make a comparison between these two. Pouncing Cheetah just didn't cut it, I thought. It was one of my last picks. Cursed Minotaur in a black deck, I played a ton. Menace is no joke, and it was able to get through for quite a bit of damage. Next card, we break the 3 mana cycle, but we move up to the 4 mana cycle. Tawkrop Elite. For 4 mana, 3 and a white, you get a Bird Warrior. It's a 2/2, it has flying, and when you exert Tawkrop Elite, as it attacks, when you do, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. I like Tawkrop Elite a bunch. It was surprising on turn 4, especially if you're playing maybe low to the ground wide white deck. I didn't really play this too much in a blue-white flyers deck, but in an aggressive deck, Tawkrop Elite did a lot of work. Made combat math difficult, and so when you exert it, you know, the math with, you know, if you had 3 or 4 other creatures attacking could do some damage. Next card, continuing on a cycle now of 4 mana. Violent Impact, 4 mana, 3 in a red, sorcery. This is garbage. So this is another version of Demolish. Basically it's Demolish, but they've tacked on cycling as if that's going to help it a little bit. No. Violent Impact is a card I don't like. Demolish is a card I don't like. It's out. Painted Bluffs, it's land desert. You can tap it, add 1 colors to your mana pool, or you can pay 1 generic, tap it, and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. I did not play this in Theros at all. Amonkhet. There was no reason to splash, like a 3rd color. Most of the time you're stuck in 2-color decks. You had plenty of mana options to get you through. In Amonkhet, Painted Bluffs did not make sense to me at all. Aven Initiate, we're back to the 4 mana. 3 and a blue. It's a bird warrior. It's a 3/2 flyer. It has Embalm, 6 and a blue. Now, Aven Initiate was a card I played quite a bit. It's 3/2 flyer for 4. That's value. And then if you had enough mana left over, you could Embalm it, which meant once this was in the graveyard, you'd exile this card and you create a token that's a copy of it, except for it became a white zombie bird warrior instead of a blue bird warrior. In draft, this was a lot of fun. Embalm, creature die early on. The games, unless you were playing white red aggro, would go on longer, and later on in the game you get a 3/2 flyer back. So in a blue white flyer deck, I liked Aven Initiate quite a bit. Next card is 2 mana, Gustwalker, 1 and a white. It's a human wizard. It's a 2/2. You may exert Gustwalker as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+1 against flying until end of turn. So I remember playing this quite a bit in draft. Sealed as well. It did a lot of work. It'd come down on turn 2, turn 3, you'd pop him in the air with a 3/3 flyer. You'd have to wait a turn, then on turn 5 you'd have another 3/3 flyer. And what I liked about Amonkhet is if you planned out your exert just right, you're usually alternating your exert creatures and either getting something like a 3/3 flyer or some sort of buff. So I liked Gustwalker quite a bit. It was a useful bear. First uncommon is Protection of the Heckma. 5 mana, 4 and a white, enchantment. If a source an opponent controls would deal damage to you, prevent 1 of that damage. I never really played too much with this card. A 5 mana enchantment didn't really do anything on my turn. Maybe it prevented some damage on the next turn. I think what I found in Amonkhet, even Hour of Devastation, if you took a turn off and didn't do anything, usually we're losing. Build around in a standard or pioneer deck, I just don't see playing this at all. Our next uncommon is Open into Wonder. So X generic and 2 blue, you get a sorcery. X target creatures can't be blocked this turn. Until end of turn, those creatures gain whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. This is the funny card. I played it maybe once or twice, and it usually what happened was, I got to draw cards out of it, but it was a game ender. So I'd hold it back in my hand. When I had enough combat damage to win the game, I'd play this and send in the troops. None of them could be blocked, win the game. Drawing the cards was kind of nice, but I never really had the opportunity to draw the cards because, if I remember correctly, when I play this, I was winning the game. So it seemed to be a little bit of overkill. I think there's maybe once where, I got my opponent down to 1 or 2, drew a bunch of cards, and that pretty much ended the game. So cool design, but I found that it's more of a game ender, and you don't get to enjoy drawing the cards as much as you wanted. Final uncommon is Lay Bare the Heart. 2 mana, 1 and a black sorcery. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-legendary, non-land card from it. That player discards that card. So I like this at 2 mana. I mean, obviously, if you want to get this at a single mana, we're in, duress territory, which limits you to basically instant sorceries, enchantments, planeswalkers. This one only limits you, pretty much takes out everything but like non-legendary, so you can't take a planeswalker or a land. I like this a fair bit. Played it, had some fun with it. At 2 mana, I think it's cheap enough to do some work for you. Okay, now we're down to our rare or mythic rare. So hopefully in Bundle Bingo, we're going to get one of these squares. So here we go, the great reveal. All right, so we get Harsh Mentor. Unfortunately, no check marks off of the Bundle Bingo today. Harsh Mentor is 2 mana, so 1 and a red. It's a human cleric, 2/2. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land on the battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, Harsh Mentor deals 2 damage to that player. So during the Amonkhet block, this is kind of a big want. There's a lot of speculation, that maybe this can make it into like a modern deck. Pioneer wasn't around yet, but possibly Pioneer. This is a card that I've kind of been watching. I think I have another copy of it. It's something I might try to play in a deck where I'm hoping to shut down shenanigans. Right now in the play group, the 4 of us, there isn't too many decks floating around there that this is going to do too much work. So maybe I'm sitting around waiting for it to get a few bucks in value and then flip it on eBay or something like that. But it's an interesting card that can do some work in shutting down or dealing damage to decks that creatures or lands are going to have activated abilities, and I'm going to either shut it down or I'm going to get 2 damage off of it. Okay, and then we have our forest and our token. In Amonkhet, you could break out these boxes right here. They're perforated, so you'd have an exert counter, so you could indicate if the card had been exerted or not, which was pretty nice. Embalmed, if you didn't happen to get one of the tokens in the packs, you could put this on the card and show that it was embalmed. And then -1 counters were a big thing in the set. We didn't really get any cards that show that off. And finally, brick counters. There's a few cards that have brick counters. My favorite card, or I think the best card in this pack, going back to the environment, was Takrop Elite. I know it's the common out of the pack, but it was a card that did a lot of work. If it wasn't answered, you knew in every other turn that the wide deck was going to get you for up to 4 to 5 extra damage, and it really did havoc with combat math, especially if you're playing someone that was playing maybe a single creature, big creature, trying to get that through. So Takrop Elite, as I remember, did quite a bit of work in the Amonkhet era. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please subscribe and share. Take some time to tell me in the comments section what was your favorite or best card out of this pack. Until next time, when I am back to crack pack number 2 of my Magic the Gathering Amonkhet Bundle Bingo.